Hi, this is Andrew from T is for Tech. Today I'm going to be taking a look at some 4K 60 frames per second footage from the DJI Osmo Pocket mounted in a GoPro mount. Actually, I take that back. It's 4K 30 because face tracking obviously doesn't work in 4K 60. I should have probably read that in the instructions. My bad. So this is 4K 30 on the DJI Osmo, and here I'll take a little video on my Galaxy of how this is set up, so that you can see. Okay, so this is how I've got it mounted. As you can see, it's just attached using the GoPro mount, and it's just on my dash, and obviously pointing back at me. So, all right, so let's go driving around a little bit here. Let's see how this looks. So, again, it's a super sunny day, like the last video. Don't have much cloud cover around here at this time. I'm in the Chicago area, and the week before Christmas, so I'm not working. So right now I'm going down just a side street. Not a lot of bumps, but it's not totally smooth either. And it's hard to tell on the little screen what it looks like. And I think I can see, I don't know what that is on the... I hate when people don't use their turn signal. Like, I'm not a mind reader. So this looks like it's actually pretty stable. Like I said, I wanted to test it when it was connected to something that's more jarring than just my hand, and something just happened there. The face track flashed and it said face track on. Not quite sure if it lost my face for a second and then turned back on, so I'll have to see. This is a lot of bumps here. Going over a bridge. It's kind of bumpy. And I still gotta look up online or whatever. Just touching this thing does feel like it gets really warm. I know I mentioned that in my other video, but the DJI Osmo itself, when you're recording and this has been going for a couple minutes now, it seems to get really really warm. So just wondering what that's about. I was gonna do some sample footage as well, like versus the GoPro for this, but I saw a lot of other videos that have already done that, and I don't have a GoPro Hero 7, I only have a Hero 6, so I don't know if too many people would actually care versus the 6 or 7, because the 7 is supposed to have a lot better software stabilization than the 6. And when they say a lot, I don't know what a lot means, but it's supposed to be better. So I don't necessarily want to waste time recording a video that nobody cares about. yeah, so again, the road is not terribly bumpy, like I said, not potholes or anything like that, but it's not smooth. It's kind of bumpy. You can see me, I'm moving around a little bit as you know, as I'm driving. The other thing is just the 4K. I did a little bit of video recording with 4K the other day, but all the videos that I had posted on YouTube so far have been at the 1080p, which looks pretty good. So I'm curious to see how this 4K footage turns out. And I'll try to edit the whole thing in 4K so that it's not like I'm recording in 4K and downsizing it to 1080. So what I'm doing right now, I'm just going to drive a little bit more. This is more on a main road than here. Let's see how that turns out. And then I'm going to flip the camera around so that it's facing out the front of the car instead of facing towards me, and then do some footage that way as well. Now I'm just gonna have to sit here because I need to make a turn and there's a lot of traffic.
6.5 hours later.
And the sun is right behind me, as you can see. But overall, the one thing I will say for sure is that this thing is pretty small. I mean, it really is convenient. It looks tiny as compared to the suction mount that's on the dash. So it's not like there's a big camera in your face, right? You really don't notice it that much if you have especially if you have a smaller mount or a different way to mount it. It's just kind of blends in with everything else, which is good. And it doesn't look like I'm a crazy person driving around with a giant camera, you know, in my face in my car. What I'll try to do here is I'm going to go a little bit out of my way just so I can go over some railroad tracks, which is going to be coming up right around this corner. See, okay, so here they come, railroad tracks. Okay, I went over the railroad tracks. Actually, what I'm going to do, so I'm going to go up here just a little bit more and then I'll flip the camera around and I'll go back over the railroad tracks the opposite direction. Okay, so now this is pointing forward. The front of the car, and it's in, I guess, the follow mode, so it should probably turn as I'm turning. So I guess that'll be interesting to see what it does in a car. Okay, yeah, so it's kind of turning and then following back to the center very slowly. Okay, like I said, here comes the railroad tracks, train tracks. Right over now. And I'm turning again. And it's hard to tell if it's actually recording directly in front of me, so I'm going to try to recenter it. Okay, so I recentered it. Again, this is driving just about 35 miles an hour. Went over some more bumps. For a second there, I thought that this license plate said butt flies, but I guess it means butterflies. Ay, ay, ay. I'm just mailing some mail here. So I turned it off for a little while because the sun was just like blaring inside, and now it's going to come back, I think. One thing I'd like to see is if this thing can actually like track stuff. Right, so right now there's a semi-truck right here. And okay, so active track is on the semi-truck. I lost it because of the sun. Now it's on again. See, I'm going to turn left a little bit and see what it does. Yeah, it's following it. That's actually pretty cool. So it lost it then. So that was actually pretty neat. It was able to lock onto the back of the semi-truck, and it kind of followed it as I diverged from where that car was, and it ended up tracking it pretty good and then I lost it. It's still actually pretty cool. I'm just kind of driving through a parking lot of some stores here. I'm going to Panera Bread. So I didn't notice this. It's getting my rear view mirror in the picture. Well, hopefully that wasn't too boring. I don't know how many minutes of footage that this is actually going to be. Like I said, the point here was just see how it worked on a suction mount on a windshield, both looking into the car. So what does the audio sound like? What is the face tracking? How does face tracking work kind of in the car? Overall, I think with decent lighting, it's fine. Where I've seen this thing have a problem in all the things I've just kind of recorded was that when the sun got too bright or something else like that kind of distorted my face enough that it just lost tracking. But if it's well lit and evenly lit, then there's definitely no problem. Again, I'm anxious to see the footage to see how well this did to even out some of the bumps. Went over railroad tracks, went over a bunch of different things. I want to see how jittery, I guess, basically the image looks. So, thanks again for watching. This is Andrew from T is for Tech, and I'll see you next time.